Hey y'all, welcome back to the Person Who podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today. Before we jump into it, I have to brag because look at my sign. I think this means we're official now. McKinley got this for me for Christmas, and this is not even what the episode is about, but it's so important that you have friends who believe in you.
That's true.
And that love you and invest in you and believe in what you're doing. And so, Mickey, if you're watching this, I love you.
Oh.
Thank you so much. It will be hanging eventually.
Yeah.
But once we get like the permanent location, it will be hanging. But I just had to show you guys because
You could have had Easton hold it
so
behind
amazing.
us the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
today.
Do you want to stand up and hold it? But thank you guys for being here today. I'm so excited about today's episode. You're our first repeat guest.
Oh, my word.
You are. And this is the first. Two times.
Repeat.
You already know who this is. My mother-in-law, my boss, one of my closest friends, my best mentor ever, Whitney Barth.
What's up?
She's here. We're going to talk today. I'm really excited
Me too.
about today.
I am too.
Because what happens when me and Whitney sit down, it just kind of turns into this long conversation of like, oh yeah, this is good. We should turn a camera on. This is good. So I'm excited. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things today, but I just want to go back real quick because they already know your story, who you are, all the things. But I touched a little bit last episode. I really tell them when I'm going through it. And basically every episode starts out with me being like, I'm going through it.
Yeah.
But last year was not a fun year at all. Starting probably like midsummer going down, it was like, what's happening? What's going on? I like lost all of my joy. And so that's what the last episode was about, talking about picking up like memorial stones over your life so you can remember all the things that God's did in your life. But for a second, it was like, I have none to pick up.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it. I have no joy. It felt like my purpose was attacked. My joy was attacked. And I was just like a breathing person, but nobody was home. Like nobody was there. And that comes a lot with the things we do. Like my job and Whit's job is ministry, but also there's other people that watch this podcast that don't just do ministry. So my hope today is that we can just talk through a bunch of different things of like, what do you do when you find yourself in that spot? And I know that you have not always worked in ministry.
Yeah,
so you
that's
you can see both sides, which I love. But I want you to talk a little bit about like, so you say yes to this. You know that God has something massive on your life. You say yes. What did you instantly think that was going to look like when God put something on your heart?
No, that's really funny. I remember being young, a young woman, and feeling like God was like, hey, if you'll keep your eyes on me, I have something for you, very specific to help people, to encourage people, to bring life to them.
Yeah.
And then I spent the next 15 years being a mom, working in cosmetic sales, helping women with their skincare routines, getting selling fragrances to people. And I honestly, for a long season, as I was serving and like just volunteering in different areas and like encouraging people, being on the PTA, thought, okay, God, I guess this is how you're going to use it, but it's definitely not what I thought.
Yeah.
Because what I thought was that, you were going to like send me into this like, moment of like ministry where I'm just going to be, every word that comes out of my mouth is going to feel so anointed and people are going to get saved. Their lives are going to get changed.
Right.
And it was not as spectacular as I thought. And then when I was 33, which was the same year as Jesus,
There we go.
is when I stepped into full-time ministry finally for the first time. And in that, I think by the time I got to there, I had a better understanding of what it was actually going to be like. And so once I stepped into actually doing it for a job, God had taught me enough and a lot along the way to help me see, okay, I've been being faithful for the last 15 years, and it took me this long to get to here.
Yeah.
He does have more. He is going to do more. And I just have to keep trusting in the waiting. But thank God by then I figured that out. Otherwise, I would have handled it totally different.
Yeah.
And I'm really thankful for that. And so those early years are really what taught me that like it's about showing up and it's about being consistent. And it's not always going to look like how you think it's going to look.
Exactly. No, it's true. Because when I finally stopped running away from God and actually said, okay, God, I think that you want to do something in my life, I couldn't have even pictured or dreamed what he would have me doing, where he would bring me. How did I find Mansfield, Texas? I'd never heard of Mansfield in my whole entire life. But when I said yes to God, I had no idea, I guess, all that it would entail. And I had only seen ministry or my job, or insert whatever your job is, done one way.
Right.
And so that's what I expected, and that's what I started chasing.
Yep.
So when I was like, this doesn't look at all like what I thought it was, it came with all these different emotions. And for a while, I felt like guilty about it, but it's because I didn't understand, like, this is not always going to be flashy and exciting.
Right.
And like, oh my gosh, can you believe I get to do this? And holy cow, I love this. I love my job. And I found myself in that spot last year where, like, in front of me was everything that I could ever want to do.
Yeah.
I'm working in youth ministry. I got to run a summer camp. I get to work all across the board in Next Gen. I get to have a podcast with my husband. I get to work with my husband. I get to travel the world with my family. I get to see my family in Arkansas more. But none of it was enough.
Yeah.
And I got to speak at 2 conferences last year. None of it was enough. And so I found myself getting to do everything that I thought I wanted to do. But I'm not even kidding. I had never felt so empty.
Yeah.
And so, like, joyless and so angry, like just mad. And I think it's because I really just had my eyes locked on something that wasn't realistic, and that God didn't say, hey, Brady, I want you to be in ministry, and it's going to look like you on stage talking to 10,000 people. And for some reason, that just felt so heartbreaking. Like, it feels gross to say, like I'm saying, and I'm like, that's really gross to admit. But
well, it wasn't even all the way your heart posture. I think it was what you said, your expectation. This is like one of the greatest leadership lessons I ever learned.
Yeah.
Your expectation and then reality.
Yeah.
And every bit of the space in between where your expectation is and where you're actually at can be frustration.
Right.
If you don't have the proper communication to understand, hey, maybe my expectation is not correct. In your marriage, like, if you expect Easton to do something and he's not doing it, and the reality is down here, unless y'all talk about it, he's just going to keep being right here, and you're going to keep expecting this, and you're going to be frustrated. And I think the same in ministry, in life, in our expectations of, like, what God has for us. Sometimes we have these expectations, and then there's this reality, and God's like, I got you. I know the plan and the purpose I have for you. I knit you together in your mother's womb. Yeah. I've been planning for such a moment as this. And unless we take those times to, like, sit with God, and like you said, I didn't have any stones to pick up, but you just couldn't see the stones in the moment, right? Yeah. And it's like, but it wasn't until you sat with God and let him go, hey, there's a stone right there. One. Hey, there's one right there. Hey, there's one. And that communication with God that allows us to then bring our expectation to the proper alignment, and then usually he can bring our reality to the same space of where he wants us to be. And I think, man, it gets hard though, because then you just get frustrated and angry, and then you want to eject. And, like, I've seen it time and time and time again where people get impatient in the waiting, impatient in what's not flashy, like you said, and think, okay, well then I'll just go here, or I'll just do this, or I must not be in God's will. I must not be in His purpose. It must be time for me to move. I must have no purpose. I must be walking in purpose. And it's like, is it really that, or is it just it doesn't look like the flash and all the things that you thought it was, and can you just sit still long enough and sit with God long enough to recognize, actually, you're exactly where He wants you to be. Right, exactly. And He's doing something in you and teaching you things beyond what you even understand. Right.
Well, and something that I'm noticing, especially with, like, people my age, we are now used to this, like, instant gratification culture where it's like, I should have it now. I should have $1 million now. I should be... I don't know, help me with sales, like the top sales associate. I should have the newest car, because that's what we see on Instagram. We see people our age, and we're like, why am I not there yet? I'm doing what they're doing, if not more. It doesn't make sense. And so then we get to these moments where we're like, God, this is not at all what I wanted to do, what I feel like you're asking me to do. And now I just want to throw in the towel, and I want to give up, or I want to shift to something completely different when it gets hard. And when it's like, you're in this like desert season of, like, hello, God, where is your provision? Where is your goodness? I can't see it. And so, like, have you ever had a moment like that where you're like, I want to throw in the towel and I want to be done?
Oh, man. Lots of times. Lots of times over the years. I remember before I was in ministry full time, I can remember we were serving. We've been a part of our church since the day, since it planted. And I can remember serving, but then also working in cosmetics, and especially during the holiday season. Both church ministry is busy during the holiday season.
Very.
And sales, retail, all of that is really busy during the holiday. And I can remember being in my car and literally driving from church to work, changing into my work clothes, and then going back to the church later that night for an event and changing back from my work clothes into church clothes. And I can remember feeling like, what am I even doing this for?
Yeah.
Like, what is even the reason why I am like, didn't see my kids all day except like dropping them off to kids ministry.
Right.
But because I am chasing maybe, or I am hoping for the, and a little bit like, hey God, you see me down here? I'm doing my very best. And it really was, there was lots of times where I feel like God had to kind of sit me down and be like, but what is the reason why you're doing this? What is the heart behind why you said yes? And kind of take me back to that first love of like, the Bible verse, do not grow weary in doing good,
yes,
for at the proper time.
So good. Mm-hmm.
But the problem is it's the proper time for God's plan, but we like to think it's the proper time for our plan.
For me.
And like, I was so oftentimes in my life trying to run ahead of what his plans for me were, when the truth was, whenever he opened a door that I got to walk through, the thing about it is if I tried to prop open or throw open or shove open the door, then I has to also be the one to keep doing the work to keep the door open.
Yeah.
But when he opens the door, I just got to run right through it and like, it's open. It ain't going anywhere. And like, there's nothing I have to do. But I more than once was like, God, are you serious right now? And then I remember when I said yes to stepping into full-time ministry, where the church was at the time was financially not great. We were kind of revitalizing the church, actually like replanting it, restarting it, because we didn't have a lot of money. We lost a lot of people. And it was kind of like, okay. And I remember like in my heart, I was all in. Like, God and I had a very like real moment of like, God, I'll say yes to this forever. Because if I'm honest, part of why I was in retail world and ministry was a long time my own control of like, well, I'll make sure that my finances are taken care of, and I'll do ministry on the side because I don't know, I've seen that done, or I don't want to get hurt again the way I've seen my family be hurt, and all, because I grew up a kid of ministry, and I was trying to control a lot of it myself. But I remember me and Jesus had this very real moment in February, before I said yes and started working full-time in May of that year, where I told him, like, I'll do whatever you ask me to do. I'll go wherever you ask me to go. I'll say yes and serve however you ask me to serve. Yeah. And so when it happened in May, I was like, yes, this is it. Okay. But then they were like, we really can only pay you $10,000 a year. Yeah. Which is like not any dollars to leave your full-time job that you have right now that's helping your son buy his like Dunkzilla t-shirts and Nikes
Easton,
and all the things.
Dunkzilla.
Like keeping your kids like living the life that they want to live. But say yes instead. You said you say yes. And it's like, I said yes before I knew all the details. Yeah. And but had I known the details, would I still have said yes? Right. I think so. I hope so. I want to believe so. Right. But because I had said yes, I wasn't going to go back on my word. And because I know that God and I had this moment. Yeah. But it was definitely like a decision of sacrifice to be like, okay, you're not gonna make a ton of money, and you're not gonna like jump into, I didn't know what the junk I was doing, and the job that I was asked to do in the moment was not necessarily the like end all be all job it's not the one I have now, and it's not the one I had been dreaming of since I was 17. It was just saying yes to the need of the church, saying yes to the need of the people, saying yes to the need of the ministry right then, and honestly, it was hard work and faithful work. But had I not had that 15 years before of just being faithful, right? The first year had literally no flash. Yeah, none. Not any. Yeah. Only, I don't know a different F word. That's not good. Like only hard stuff. Yeah, no, only stuff that made me want to like lose my junk. Right. But because I was like, okay, he opened this door. There's no way I could have manipulated this door open myself. He met with me and said, will you do this? I said yes to him. I'm just going to keep trusting him. I'm just going to keep walking it. And there were so many moments where it was like, this is hard, but I felt like he was still whispering, but do you trust me? Yeah. Do you trust me? Yeah. I got you. Do you trust me? Yeah. And faithful is not a flashy thing. No. And I had to reconcile that then. Yeah. And had I not reconciled that then, then over the last 5 years since COVID, like it's been a tough journey.
Yeah.
And really only in this last 6 months, maybe 9 months, have I felt like we were back in our groove.
Right.
If I'm real honest.
Yeah.
And even still, there are still like unanswered prayers, moments I'm waiting for, thinking, okay, God, you're going to do what only you can do, right? And had I not reconciled it then in 2016, I would not be able to reconcile it now. And I definitely would have probably quit sometime over the last 5 years in just like, oh, faithful is hard. Faithful is a decision. Faithful is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I have to remember, but I can't grow weary in doing good at the proper time.
That's good.
And like holding back to his timing is perfect. His ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. Like his truth is the only thing that I can hold on to.
Right.
And if I really believe that his promises are true, then I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
Because what am I going to do? Go somewhere else so that I can just get frustrated there? And then go somewhere else so I can get frustrated there? Because the same problems, the same situations follow us wherever we go.
They exist everywhere.
You know, the whole grass is greener is literally the truth. It's not. It's not. It's green where you water it. It's green where you're faithful. And it's green where you're willing to dig in and do the hard work for a long time.
Very long.
And that's the thing I think that my generation and your generation did not see modeled properly.
Right.
I think that it was presented to us like, you say yes to Jesus and look at all that will happen good in your life.
And beautiful.
And we will be perfect and we will never fart in front of our spouse. You know, like everything will be wonderful. And like, no, like it is hard work and it is saying yes day in and day out. And it is a decision that, and it's not going to always look like how you thought it was going to look. But if I'm waiting for it to be flashy, I'm just going to wait the rest of my life.
Exactly.
And I'm just going to get frustrated. I'm going to eject every time.
Right.
And in that season of like, $10,000, it didn't last forever, but I didn't know how long it was going to last.
You didn't know. You
and
couldn't
it
tell.
wasn't up to me to figure that out. But I also wasn't like sitting there going, I'm going to bank this time. I'm going to get 9 months. Oh, I've been here 18 months. Oh, I bet that will look good on a resume now.
Right.
I can now go to this church down the street and this church down the street and be like, hey, I've been the executive pastor of a church for the last 6 months. And about 9 months of like this and about 10 years of volunteer service.
Right.
I wasn't, that's not the mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that because you and I were presented such beautiful, like, this is what ministry can look like in my generation was just like at camp. We didn't have Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So but the ones we knew, the pastors we knew, it was like, oh my God, they're doing something incredible for God. And we only saw the finished product. We didn't, and they never told us about the hard work that it took to get to where they were and what it actually looked like. Right. And that half the time they wanted to quit. Nobody ever was honest about that. And then for you, man, y'all's generation, it scares the junk out of me because it's all pretend. Like Instagram is pretend, TikTok is pretend, and like it's cute and it's pretty, and like I know their lives are real, and I know some of these influencers make tons of money and all, but also like a lot of them rent the airplane to like take their private plane pictures on, lots of them actually hate their spouse and are like super miserable, and then just smile for the camera, and then when they turn it off, they're miserable again, and it's like it's not real, and yet the expectation is my life has to look like that or I'm failing.
Exactly. That's what I was going to ask. Like, can you help me understand, like, why do you think it's so hard? Well, not why do you think it's so hard, but like explain faithfulness to me because yes, my generation is presented. We have a whole new level of influencer. Yeah. And like, yes, I know we're talking a lot about pastors and like ministry, but also like there's teacher influencers, there's sales influencers, there's these people who live in high-rise apartments in New York, and like we think, oh gosh, I need to be there one day. Help us understand, like it takes like you don't even see the background of their stories, what they're going through, what their home life is like. Like faithfulness, I feel like has a little bit been lost in this generation because of what we expect and how quickly we expect to get it. So we don't really understand the gravity of what you learn in being faithful, in staying in it being hard. Like last year, I've only been in ministry for 5 years. That's not a long time.
Yeah.
But last year it had me questioning everything because though I was being faithful, I lost my joy. I lost my excitement. I was mad at everybody around me. My eyes were focused on the negative. So in that moment, I did really have the real question of, oh my gosh, do I need to pull myself away because I'm not happy. I'm not enjoying it. Showing up on Wednesday is hard. Showing up to a life group is hard. Texting back students is hard. I have no joy in this. So in the moment, faithfulness to me was like, oh, well, it doesn't feel
right.
I feel no joy. So clearly God's hand is moved, but like help me us understand why that's not true.
Well, you are a farm girl.
Yes.
So like, you know a lot about harvest and like, and about sowing seed. And like, I think the problem is because right now, I could go on my phone and I could Instacart something and it would be here in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But the truth is, like, if I say we ordered strawberries.
Yeah.
They were on a vine that came from seeds that like a farmer planted. And like, it actually took a really long time. But because we live in this instant world where it can show up at my door in 30 minutes and I'm gonna pay $25 for one cart.
Exactly.
What we are doing in the same in our life is we're overexerting ourselves to try to produce this finished product. And what we don't realize is the cost on us. It costs you your joy. Yeah. It costs you your peace. It costs you your rest because you were looking at this finished product and thinking I have to be there.
Right.
Without recognizing, today what I have to give is the seed. Today what I have to give is the water. Today what I have to give. And when you can see the steps as part of the purpose, like part of the finished product, then one, you're going to appreciate the finished product more.
Right.
But two, you're going to be able to enjoy the journey. Years ago, my mom bought me a necklace that said, the journey is the reward. And I wouldn't wear it for a long time because I was like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
No, the destination is the reward. And it was like this revolutionary thing that she knew I needed in my life that I still need to this day to recognize, like, the journey is part of what gets us to where we're going. And my husband and I are about to be married 25 years, which is like, that's a long time.
That's so good.
But when I look back and I think about how 5 years in, there was hard season. Well, 1 year in, there was a hard season. We ended up having Easton 1 week before our 1 year anniversary. Like, 1 year in was a hard season. 5 years in was a hard season. Moving here at 8 years in was a hard season. Had we given up each and every one of those times, had we not dug in and been faithful, then I could be on my second marriage or my third or my fourth. And the depth of like love and intimacy and relationship we have now is only because we spent the last 25 years building it. Yeah. But we have a hard time seeing our life and our purpose in the same way. It sounds silly because people are like, no, of course you're not going to just get divorced just because he bugged you and blah, blah, blah. But we do that same thing with our purpose. We think, I gave it 85% and it didn't work out. Yeah. I tried really hard with that one student, maybe in ministry. I gave him my guts and then they don't love God anymore. And so then we were like, oh, never mind. Or man, I worked on that report so long and my boss didn't even read it. Right. Like all of these things where we think I gave so much effort to it. What does it even matter? Instead of going, you know what? He is the one in charge of my life, in charge of my destiny, my purpose, and every piece. And if I'm just obedient to him on the daily, it's not going to be flashy.
No.
It's not going to always be like, we're not always going to be in Hawaii in January. No. Like we got to go one time to Hawaii in January.
Now we're going to be in an ice storm.
Now we're going to be in an ice storm and like hoping our power doesn't go out.
Right, exactly.
But if I can understand that most of life is just living right here in the day-to-day and the faithfulness. And the truth is, in your generation, is in the next 5-10 years, you're going to see those few people who could rise to the top. The problem is right now in this instant gratification world that you live in, you guys, you know, a lot of your generation is like, as long as I can post it on the internet, it looks good, then I'm going to be awesome. But in 5 to 10 years, the emptiness inside is actually what's going to be heavier and louder and bigger.
It hurts.
And it's like, just put it away. Like that's what I want to sometimes say.
Exactly.
It's like,
just put it up.
Put it away. Like stop looking at it. Stop The comparison piece steals every bit of our own purpose and joy. But I think that, I don't know, I'm not doing a good job answering the question.
No, you are.
Because faithfulness is just showing up day in and day out.
Right.
Being consistent. Yeah. And consistent is not flashy, but it's what makes the strawberries beautiful and ripe and strong and shareable. And what instead we are doing is isolating ourselves, trying to build our own kingdoms. And God's over here like, if you would just actually let me be Lord of your life, then I could build the life for you that you won't even believe. Because the truth is, Brady, if I look at my life right now, I have more than I ever dreamed. Yeah. Not necessarily because I drive a nice car or live in a nice house, and it's not about that. Yeah. I look at the real true richness of my life, the relationship I have with you and my kids and my husband and my family and my friends, the ministry that God's allowed me to do, where I'm literally able to sit with people who are walking through grief and redemption stories and have been in addiction and have literally been ripped from the clutches of hell and are gonna now serve Jesus. Right. And it didn't happen because I was holding a microphone on a stage and gave a beautiful sermon. Right. I've held a lot of microphones. I've given a lot of beautiful sermons. I believe God has more beautiful sermons for me to give. But those were not the places where his purpose shined through in my life. Yeah. And that they're not the things that made my life rich. Yeah. It's these small moments that in the moment seemed insignificant, but actually were building a life of purpose, a life of sweet goodness of God that is really not Instagrammable.
No. Well, I think that's where we get caught up a lot is all that we see on Instagram is either, the highs or, oh, dude, I'm so down low, but let me tell you what I'm learning. Yeah. It's never really... I'm depressed. Last year, what I could have done is posted a selfie and be like, I hate myself. I'm so depressed. I have no joy right now. But I didn't do that. Literally talking to my friends the past few weeks, I've gotten to catch up with them because I didn't talk to them for 6 months of my life. And they were like, oh my gosh, what? We knew something was off, but you really weren't giving us anything. And I was like, yeah, because when you are down that low, you're not authentically giving out. You're so focused on yourself is what I'm learning. But really our life is in the middle, in the day-to-day, in the mundane. You and I talked about that. Yeah. It's almost painfully mundane because it's mundane. Oh my gosh, this feels the same again and again. And I'm going crazy because I don't know what to do. And I feel young adults or people my age or however old you are, I don't know. But the painful mundaneness sometimes makes us stop in faithfulness because we're no, it looks the same. Nothing's changing. Nothing's shifting. It's too ordinary. There's no highs. I've only been having lows. And I just want to grab those people and be like, no, but last year I couldn't grab you because I didn't believe it either. But now I believe it. And I'm like, no, if you just stay for just a second. What is it Enrique says? 5 more minutes.
Just 5 more minutes.
Stay 5 more minutes. Yeah. And it would blow your mind what God can actually teach you. Because looking back on the last 6 months of my life, nothing bad. Yeah. Really, I got to go to Disney World. That was the most magic. I really feel like that's the closest to heaven until I get there. That is magic. I got to go to Disney World. I got to speak at 2 conferences. Right. I got to speak in front of people and hold the microphone on a stage in front of people that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm back in my hometown. I know these people. I know these people's kids. What is happening? Nothing bad happened. But inside, my everything was just blowing up. And I was like, it's every day. I can't do this and I can't do this. And looking back on it, I'm like, oh dude, God taught me so much that I had no idea. I literally had this moment. I had coffee with Cassandra yesterday and I was kind of just telling her about it. And I was like, you know what's actually crazy? The 2 things that I spoke about at those conferences, I don't even think that I was preaching solely to myself because I was telling them they're not stuck and I was telling them they need to stand up and fight back. And I'm like, I'm talking to myself. Right. What? God is teaching me this in the moment. Right. And now I'm looking back going, oh, I can stand up now and know I'm not stuck and fight back because that's what I learned in the painfully mundane moments of my life of 6 months of God, what are you doing? Please show up for me. And and I think too that in those painfully mundane, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but I'm going to keep saying painfully mundane moments that we feel like God has abandoned us. God, where is your voice? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. And so it's like, oh, then the grace has been lifted. Oh, then it's time to move on. And it's like we get so frustrated in those moments. And so what is some like, I'm very practical. What's practical advice when you're in those painfully mundane moments? You feel like everything is the same. Nothing's shifting. This is faithfulness, but it sucks. I can't hear God's voice. What would you say to someone that's like, I don't know what to do practically because I can't hear the Lord?
One of the things you did that I think was paramount, is that the right word? Yeah. Paramount to you getting some breakthrough is that you were just real about it with some people that you loved and trust. Yeah. Like, I think that facing it, like facing the fact that and being willing to admit it, I want it to look flashy.
Yeah.
But if flashy is what I'm looking for, I'm never going to be happy there.
Yeah.
Because it's in the faithful that he's doing it. Because what you said is, you had so many beautiful moments last year, but the enemy is really tricky.
Right.
He comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Right. That's not just to get us addicted to drugs and to get us to cheat on our spouse. It's not just those things. It's to get us off the mark of what God has called us and purposed us to do. And not even the big things. It's those daily mundane things. Literally in 2023-ish I'm trying to remember what year it was. 21 is when I had some it was 23, that's right. I had some massive anxieties that the enemy was whispering in my ear. Your kids are not going to be okay. Your husband's not going to be okay. The church is not going to be okay. And they didn't even all the way make sense. But and we were in this victory moment. We got a building. We moved into it. We started seeing new people, new life changes happening. And all of this fruit, Enrique, again, is one of the ones who's look up and see the fruit. You're not seeing it. It's right in front of you, but you're missing it. But the enemy had tricked me into this anxiety spiral that I was laying in bed at night, overwhelmed by it. And I had to come to grips with this moment and be real with some friends and be like, hey, I am letting I always say, we get to do this. And I feel it with all my heart. So grateful that we get to be a part of building God's kingdom, whether we work in a church or whether when I worked in cosmetics, whether my husband, he works for, manages airports, and he gets to do that. He gets to have that job, which then allows our family to do the life and live the life that we live, and all this. And I felt like in that season, my get to was stolen, totally gone. And I had to admit with some friends, hey, I feel like my get to is being attacked. Yeah. And so now I'm going to fight back. And I need you to help me fight back. And we have to be willing to ask for help. Yeah. And we have to be willing not only to ask for help of I'm sad, I'm depressed, whatever, but also I'm just not seeing it right.
Yeah.
Can you point out to me what I'm not seeing because I'm not? And so with Enrique, he would literally come, and he still will to this day sometimes come up on a Sunday and go walk the room, go walk in the back of the room, go see what's going on, go look at, not that it's a full room.
No, yeah.
But that there is this person right here that has been walking through a hard season, and look how they're worshiping, and look how God's ministering to them. Go see this right here with this conversation with those people and how they're praying over them. And 6 months ago, that person was in a deep, deep despair, but now they're encouraging someone else. Go walk the room. And so in these moments when you feel it's so painfully mundane, you have to make a decision to look up and to ask some people around you to encourage you, but then to say, hey, help me look up and see what God is actually doing. Let me show up for real. Let me actually dig in and give it 5 more minutes. Yeah. Give it 5 more minutes to see, won't he do it? Won't he show up in a way? And then just get real with God about your frustration. Yeah. I think that before COVID, I was traveling a lot more, speaking a lot more at different other places. And it was really something, and it still is something that I feel like God has placed in my life that I will do at some time. And then after COVID, it's been more here and there, someone will ask me to come or share a word or do a thing. And I started to get really frustrated about it, but then felt like I wasn't, that's vain, that's a microphone on a stage, and all these things that are counter to but it was no, you feel like there's something that God has spoken to you, and yet it's not happening. Just go talk to him about it. Actually be real with him about it. And so I did. I was like, hey, God, do you still have purpose for me in this? Is that still something that you even have? I'm disappointed a little bit that it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. And what he's able to do in those moments is sit with us and be like, hey, let's talk about why this is what you feel I've called you to.
Right.
Let's talk about the purpose behind it. Let me point out some things that I'm building and teaching in you. Let me point out some other areas where you're winning that I'm developing more. And let me also sit with you and reestablish my promises over your life, reestablish my purposes over your life, and let you see where I've given you space and margin to be present for your kids in these final few years that they're here, right here with you. Let me show you the spaces where you were available to your husband when he desperately needed you this year in ways that you didn't know. And because I was able to voice my frustrations, he was able to meet me in it and then go, hey, do you trust me or what? Like, did I do it then? Did I do it here? Did I take care of you there? Okay, then I'm going to take care of you. And I think what happens instead is we just go, you know what? It's not happening the way I want it to. I'm going to go make it happen.
I'm done.
I'm going to go make it happen.
I'm going to go do something else.
I'll do something else. I'll move somewhere else. I'll go to a different church. I'll go find a different job. I'll go find a new career. I'll go find a new spouse. I'll go find a new friend group because I'm just frustrated it's not going the way I want it to go. And instead it's like, my mom bought me a bracelet of this verse. Like, Grammy, good job,
Grammy's
Grammy.
prophetic.
She's doing. Can we just be still? And know that He is God. Another verse in the Psalm says, "I will fight for you. The Lord will fight for you. You only need to be still." And I think that this generation is just running so fast from one thing to the next, trying to like make their mark and like leave their. That it's like if you'll just be still and let Him fight it. You won't be so worn out.
Exactly.
You won't have to grow weary in doing good because you'll be like, He's fighting it for me. I'm going to just chill. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep showing up. And really in 2021, when I finally was like, okay, God, I have two options. I quit or I trust you.
Right. The two things.
Literally, or 2023. I don't know. I keep thinking 2021 because that's when the other ice storm was. And that's what's in my head. The ice storm was coming. 2023, when I was like, hey, God, I can either quit or like, I can learn to trust you. The truth is, over the last 2 years, I have fought, I've been up against way bigger mountains, way bigger battles, way bigger hurdles, way bigger, oh God, if you don't move, we're screwed. But I've had so much more peace, so much more rest, so much more ability to go, it's yours, man. It's not mine. I'm going to be still and let you fight it. I'm going to be still and trust you in it. And I'm just going to keep being faithful. I'm going to keep showing up. And I've had so much more joy in doing that because I was willing to go, okay, I'm going to fight it here. I'm going to trust you in it. Because what we think is if we just stay faithful long enough, then all the problems will go away.
No.
All the happy things will look good. And then it will be pretty like Instagram. No, some days will be pretty and Instagrammable. Some days will be the coolest TikTok reel. And other days, most days, will be waking up, making your coffee again, going to work, put your shoes on, go to work, come home, make the food. And like, every now and then you get to do a fun podcast with your daughter-in-law you love. But most of the time, I'm just going home and making chicken.
Home and chilling.
You know?
Right, exactly.
And so like, it's just getting comfortable in the painful, mundane. And then learning that the pain is what's building us. That is what's giving me the strength to grow my muscles, my spiritual muscles, my emotional muscles, my mental muscles. And like, you now, because of the pain you went through last year at the end of the year, you now are able to sit with other people. And I believe you will a ton this year. Maybe you'll talk about it on a stage. Maybe you'll like have a spotlight and it'll go viral and everyone, maybe that will happen. But most likely what will happen is you will sit and change 5 different women's life individually, one-on-one, because you're going to be able to sit with them and say, hey, me too, I've been there. Hey, let me tell you my story. And I feel like you and I both feel very passionately about changing the way people see what it looks like to go and make disciples. Whether that's ministry, whether that's teaching, whether that's being a mom and understanding that those children you're raising is the best ministry you'll ever do, whether it's at school, at college, at high school, encouraging other people around you, whatever it is, but knowing and trusting that like He's got it and He's got me and like He's got a plan for me. And in doing so, I can trust it. I can rest in it and I can be excited about it. And that these momentary conversations in these mundane moments might actually be the thing that changes the world.
Exactly.
And like you and I are like hell-bent on showing the world that actually is the sweetest, best way to do ministry and to do life. And then the other stuff is just like gravy. It's like extra.
Just extra.
It's like the extra fat that
That's
if you get too much of it, you're going to get fat and throw up.
Exactly.
But if you can just trust that like, oh, these regular moments, they're the ones that are building to something great. Hopefully we can help everybody see that.
Yeah. And it reminds me of the verse in the Bible. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but when, I think it's when give us this day our daily bread. It's a prayer, right?
Yeah. It's the Lord's Prayer.
That's what I thought.
You got it.
The Lord's Prayer. But it's like, that's something that the Lord just like dropped in my head of like, it's a daily. Give us this day our daily bread. Not give us this day the bread I need for the rest of the week.
Right.
But like my daily bread, and learning to actually, you talked about it, airing out your frustration with God. I had a moment last week where I actually really did air out my whole entire frustration because I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm okay. I went through those 6 months and now I'm good. Nope. It tried to creep right back in last week. Yeah. And I had this moment with God where I'm like, dude, I am so pissed at you. You can say pissed to God.
Yeah.
I do all the time.
He's not surprised.
Right. I'm like, dude, I am so pissed at you. Yeah. I am so mad. Like, I thought we were through with this. I felt like you left me for 6 months and I finally found you again. What the heck is happening? Like, this like moment where I'm crying and like spitting and like, it's just, I'm a freaking wreck. And that was probably the closest I felt to the Lord in a long time because I was just real and I was raw. And the world tries to tell you that you need to be polished and present to the Lord. Look at what I can do. You love me, you see me, and tell your friends, I'm okay, but this is happening, but I'm good. I've got it. But like, no, like strip it all down. And God, let me sit at your feet. Give me my daily bread, because if not, I'm going to lose my junk.
No, it's so good. And I think sometimes we think, oh, I haven't heard from you. I'm not connected to you. I'm not. But it's because all of that other junk that we're looking for is in the way.
It's all in the way.
It's all in the way. I'm looking for the flash. I'm looking for the fancy. I'm looking for the financial freedom. I'm looking for, and it's all in the way. And it's like, so what is it? They say you can't see the forest for the trees. If you're staring at the tree too close, you can't see the whole forest. And it's like, we're staring at this like thing we want. And he's like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
All around you.
Everywhere.
In every moment that in the coffee date you had, in the drive that you had to work, in the moment you're pumping gas, I'm right here. But you just are so distracted by wanting to get to this flashy moment that you're missing this like intimate moment with me where I can redirect and reshape and then also give you the strength to be faithful.
Exactly.
Because that verse I kept quoting, I didn't finish the very last part. Do not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time you will reap a harvest if you do not give up.
If you do not give up, right.
If you do not give up, that's faithfulness. Faithfulness is a fancy, like churchy word. All it literally means is don't give up.
Yeah, stay.
Just stay. Just be still. Just stay. Just keep doing the same thing over and over again until it sticks.
Exactly.
Until he moves. And stop thinking it's your move that's going to get it. Like, I think that so many of us, especially Christians, sit and go, okay, God, what else do you need from me? What else do you want from me? Yeah. And he's just like, I got it.
Stay still. Chill.
I got it.
Yeah.
Just keep doing the last thing I told you to do, just keep doing that. Until I open the door, until I make the way, until I move.
Right.
But instead, we just think, oh, I'm missing this. I must be doing that. And he's like, you're just tiring yourself out like a toddler.
Yourself out. Exactly.
I didn't ask you to do any of that.
Right.
I just asked you to do the last thing I asked you to do, and you're the one adding all this mess to it.
Exactly.
No wonder you're so worn out and feeling empty and hopeless.
Right. And what's true is like the staying, the faithfulness, the consistency, that is what is ultimately the most successful you'll ever be. And the world will tell you that's not true. But that's a whole other thing we could talk about a whole other time because we could go down a whole rabbit hole of that. But that is real and true success, is staying when it's hard, when it's ugly, when you feel like it's not working, when you're like, God, what's going on? Digging your feet in and saying, I'm going to stay for 5 more minutes. I'm going to be faithful.
My husband taught me years ago, not like he taught it to me, but like with his life.
Yeah.
He had been in Fort Worth for 4 years, and Dallas airport called and started wooing him over there. And they started like they offered him more money. They offered him like a different title and a different position, and it sounded better. But we had to like sit and actually be like prayerful. I can't say words. And like find peace and go, okay, God, we're going to go where there's the most peace. And though it sounded like a great like stepping stone for his career, it was actually where we found the most peace was staying. And I remember him even going in and negotiating with his boss to like try to, maybe I can leverage it to get a pay raise. And like, I was like, well, if they don't take at least this much, then you're not staying. And And I remember he was like, no, they didn't take it. They gave me this, but they didn't give me that. And I was like, what? I was so mad.
Yeah.
Like, I was so annoyed. And I was like, I can't believe it. And I remember, and he was like, hey, we said this is where we have the most peace. We need to trust what God's telling us. And so he stayed. And not only would it have been after the fact, we found out that this airport, they were needing someone to come because they were going to do all these like projects that ended up, the next guy that went there, the city got mad at him, all these things. It got like politically all a mess, all these pieces. But then also in the staying, what God was able to do and moving him up in the ways that he has, and like in the financial provision that is like, when I look back over his life, I'm like, it doesn't even make sense.
Right.
It's literally in human mind, not possible. That was not the pay scale of what they offered him. And he works for a city government. So like they're very regimented. Only God could have done what he did in his life. Yeah. But it was his willingness to say, hey, God, I heard your voice. And even when the flashy comes calling, I'm going to stay faithful. And literally all the time when I want to get frustrated or give up or get overwhelmed and think, how can it ever work out? I literally look back at him and go, you don't make no sense.
Yeah,
like
literally.
your career, your journey, your story doesn't make no sense. Only the hand of God did what he did in your life.
Exactly, yeah.
Not because my husband's not hardworking, he is. Not because he didn't give his best, he did. But he was faithful and just consistent. He wasn't flashy. True. He wasn't working a deal. He wasn't manipulating somebody or even like, he wasn't even like showing off. Like, I think that's why he's so humble and like consistent that I'm like, oh, if God does that for you, he would do that for all of us. Right. That's who our God is. And like, trusting that like, oh, okay, I see you moved there. I see you moved here in this way. So I'm just going to keep trusting you. And so
be faithful.
Even in my own life, I'm like, I ain't there yet. I haven't got all the answers of what I'm hoping God will do for my life, for my ministry, for even my marriage and for our church. But I trust now in a whole new way that I've ever had before, that if I'll just keep being faithful, he's going to do the work. He's the one that's flashy. Exactly. Like, that's the whole thing. Why do we want to be so flashy? But he's the one who's flashed. Like, what he did for us, he's the creator of the universe. If we can just, like, trust it and rest in it. Right. And I wish I knew how to communicate that well to people. But
that's good.
It's just, like, literally, just trust him in it. Just stay. Just stay when it's hard. Right. Just don't give up.
And I'm like, we have such a good... There's so many stories in here that prove God's faithfulness in his character. Yeah. And we forget because we think these aren't real stories, that these aren't real people. Like, I think of like Abraham and Sarah, and like, dude, they had a baby when they were old. Old people.
Way
like,
old.
That's so, God is so faithful. Like, if he speaks a word, that's what I used to get tripped up on because I didn't know his character. But if he says it, it will come to pass in his time, as long as we don't grow weary and we don't give up in doing good, because it will happen, because he's a faithful God. That's his character. But I'm like, if you need a reminder of how faithful God is, go read any story in this Bible, how he puts his hand in situations and he stirs it up at the last 5 minutes and something shifts and something changes. But it's because the people in here know what it means to be faithful.
Well, and I feel like for anyone who's like listening and is like, oh shoot, I've been chasing the flashy. Yeah. I've missed it. I didn't stay faithful. It's never too late to like decide to be faithful.
Never.
Like, faithful is a decision. It's not just longevity. It's not just being able to say, I've been in the same church for the last 15 years. Yeah. It's not just that. That's what I can say today. Right. But that's not what, it was a decision 12 years ago. And like for you in your life, whoever you are, like if you've been chasing the flashy and maybe where you are right now, is only flash and not obedience, sit with God long enough to go, where do you want me to be faithful?
Yeah, that's good.
What am I like missing? Good. Where have I totally gone wrong? And like the truth is we all kind of know in our gut when we're like chasing the flashy and like not being obedient. Yeah. And then be like, God, help me dig in. Help me. Like give me the strength to give me the daily bread to literally show up tomorrow better than, because the thing is for you and like all your friends, like all the people who are like, oh yeah, there she is. Like that's what that's what I think is like, you stayed in the same space. You might not have felt faithful to your own self or faithful to your purpose for a moment. But the truth is, like, the minute you showed back up, everybody's like, there she is. She showed back up in her heart and her mind and her life. And, like, that's what God does. He redeems and restores all the things. And so just, like, if you've been chasing flashy instead of faithfulness, try giving faithfulness a try for a minute. And just try again. Hey, God, I'm sorry. I want you to meet me. And, like, if you can, like, string 4 good dates together in a row, good job.
Good job. That's amazing.
You're doing better than you think you are. You know what I mean? Like, don't go, oh, my gosh, this lady's been faithful for 15 years. That's great. No, that's not what it is. It's a decision to go, today I'm going to be faithful.
Right.
Because tomorrow I'm going to have to wake up and decide to be faithful again.
No, exactly. That's a prayer I started praying at the top of the year. Like, I just started pouring out gratitude and I was like, I get so emotional thinking about it. But I'm just like, thank you for another chance. Because you could have said, dude, you're jacked.
Yeah.
Like, you need to get that fixed. But no. And, like, what a privilege that on January 1st, I decided to be faithful. Yeah. And that I have a whole other chance to be faithful again. Yeah. And, like, that's what you get every single day. You get a second chance. And it is such a privilege. A lot of time I feel like we associate second chances with, like, I sinned and I messed up. God, forgive me again.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. Grace, all the things. But, like, a second chance and just, I'm going to try again today to just be faithful and be who God asked me to be.
Yeah.
And that just absolutely wrecked me at the top of the year, that God is a God of second chances and new mercies and new days and a new chance to be faithfulness.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good, Bray.
So, to the person who thinks it should be flashy, it's not always going to be flashy, clearly, but it's so worth it when you dig your feet in, you stay 5 more minutes, and you are faithful.
Yeah.
Before we go.
I just thought of one more thing.
No, do it.
But also you're allowed to celebrate in the flashy moments.
Yes.
Like, I was thinking about you, like, you've had a wedding, you've had, like, a new house, you've had some really beautiful moments over the last few years, and there was nothing wrong with you being joyful and excited in those flashy moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now you're just learning how to settle into the faithfulness.
Exactly.
Like, okay, there was a whole bunch of flashy that happened. Now I got to settle into this faithful season. And so, like, there's nothing wrong in celebrating the flash.
Absolutely celebrate it all.
But life is not flashy.
Yes.
The day-to-day is not going to be flashy. And so, like, to the person who thinks it needs to be.
It needs to be flashy. It's not always going to be. It's not. But before we go, would you pray over us?
Yes.
Because it is a hard concept to grasp.
It is.
Everybody wants it to be flashy. That's totally fine. We live in a flesh body. Our flesh wants the things that our spirit might not always align up with. And also, like, don't feel guilty if that's a thing. Don't feel bad to say it. For a second, I wouldn't say it because I was like, that's gross. But actually, there's so much freedom in saying it. So would you just pray over us before we go?
Yes. God, thank you that you're faithful even when we aren't. And so, God, to any of the people listening, to the person who has been really obsessed with the flashy, I pray that you would just meet them with grace and let them know that you love them. You've not been mad at them. You are not disappointed in them, but instead you just love them so much, and that you've been faithful this whole time. You've been right there taking care of them. Even if they didn't do every bit of what you asked them to, even if they were disobedient, even if they've been running from the faithfulness of your heart and your life and purpose for them, I pray that you would redirect them, help them with a new yes to you, to be obedient and to be faithful. And then, God, give us all the strength to wake up tomorrow and do it again, to not give up, to not quit, to keep going, to stay put. God, help us on the days that are painfully mundane. Let us see that you're building us, that you're strengthening us. And God, I pray that over the next year, this 2026, when we get done with it, we look back, we would go, wow, look what you did because we stayed, because we were faithful. And God, I thank you for Brady and her faithfulness in this podcast. I pray that this year, as she digs in and leans into it in the faithfulness of just showing up so that we can all be encouraged and we can all grow, that you would show her that you've got it and that your plans for it are good. And so, God, thank you for each person listening. Their stories are unique. Their stories are individual. And God, you're going to do something so sweet as they say yes to you and the faithfulness that you've called them to this year. Yeah. Amen.
Amen. So good.
That
was good.
That was good. Love you so much. Yes.
So to the person who thinks it needs to be flashy, it's not always going to be, but you can be faithful, and the Lord has something good if you dig your feet in. Thank you for being on here again.
Can't wait.
Our first repeat guest. She'll probably be on here like 75 more times.
That's right.
Love y'all. We'll see you later.
Bye.